Terence Steele played 15 snaps, and in those 15 snaps, the guy was an absolute monster in the run game. He did so many good things, and today we're going to break it down. Let's jump right into the tape with the first play right here. Now this play is a stretch run to the left of your screen, which means the right tackle and right guard have a double team block on the defensive tackle, and one of those two has to read number 50 and get to the linebacker. Now in my opinion, both offensive linemen do a great job, and it's the running back that makes the mistake on this play, and he cuts back way too early. Here's the thing with this play. As you're going to see right here, the running back, he has three options. He can hit the hole, he can potentially bounce it outside, or he can bend it back to the inside. Now what he's going to see is number 50, the linebacker, who steps up and fills his gap. Now had this running back trusted that his right guard would have been able to get off the double team block and pick up number 50, and had the running back try to squeeze it in between the right tackle and right guard, there actually would have been a lane here. As you can see, from the right guard to the right tackle, there is a lane. And yeah, number 37 may have tackled the running back, but that would have been after 5 to 6 yards. The right side of the offense line actually does a great job, and a big part of this that people may not realize is the fact that as Terence Steele and the right guard block on this defensive tackle, look at the movement. They're going to take him from the middle of these hash marks. You got the two hash marks, the defensive tackles basically lined up in the middle, and watch how far they're going to drive this guy outwards. In a zone play, you really want to be able to stretch those guys and get them moving, and look at where this guy ends up relative to where he was initially lined up. That's what you want to see. Now again, I know the outcome of this play was literally 0 yards, but the block between Terence Steele as well as Connor McGovern, who is likely the starting left guard, was a really solid block here. With that being said, let's jump into the next rep. Now as I watch Terence Steele, a couple of things really pop out. First and foremost, he's a good run blocker, but in a little bit more detail, he's explosive. He gets out of his stance, and this play really backs that up. All right, look at how quickly he explodes out of his stance. Relative to that tight end right next to him, he's out of his stance and he is moving, man. That is what you want to see from a big football player, right? But more than him getting out of his stance, the reach block on number 95 is fantastic. Look at that. Between him and Connor McGovern, they do a great job reaching, and he's basically sealed off this defensive tackle. And McGovern has the angle on number 49. And truth be told, if the running back read this one correctly as well, and had Tyler Badaz done a slightly better job on number 50, this play would have popped for another 5 to 10 yards. And as you guys see the play, you guys can see number 50 really gets in there and kind of fills the gap, which does force the running back to cut it back inside. But I will also state that the running back maybe made the wrong read. I think had he once again cut this to the outside, Tyler Smith initially does a great job, and Josh Ball does a pretty solid job as well. In my opinion, the running back should have hit the gap right in between here. Even then, I think between the center and Tyler Smith could have been another potential. Instead, he's going to bend this backside and pick up nothing. But in my opinion, Terence Steele does a good job in this play, and I think generally speaking, it really starts from how quickly he gets out of his stance. I mean, that movement by a big football player like Terence Steele, that's what you want to see. And again, you know, we already stated this, Terence Steele looked really good run blocking. Let's go ahead and get to the next rep. Alrighty guys, as we're kind of sitting here talking about how explosive Steele is, it's not just run blocking. In this play, you're going to see how explosive he is when it comes to pass blocking as well. And if you guys missed it, we're going to slow it down, and we'll talk about the rep as well. But look at how fast he gets out of his stance. I mean, yeah, at some point, like, he is off the ball faster than every other guy. Like he is already getting vertical. He is already getting set. He's ready to take on this pass rusher. Think about it. As a defensive end, how do you beat a guy who's getting out of his stance so fast that you're not even able to move and he's already setting? That right there is a really solid job by Steele. Now, as the rep kind of continues, Steele does he punches the defensive end and he gets his hands to the face. I think Steele needs to continue to work on his pass rush because he turns a punch into a somewhat of a grab. I'm not saying this is a hold. Obviously, the referee's right there. He would have called it if it was a hold. Not a terrible rep. As a tackle, you do want to allow these speed rushers to get upfield and just ride them upfield because you want to create that pocket. You want these guys to go upfield. Plus, it also allows the quarterback to kind of potentially step up into whatever lane it may need to be. Not a terrible job, pretty solid, but I think Terence Steele will benefit with some more reps. Now, one of the things I noticed this season as opposed to his tape from last season is Steele definitely looked more comfortable in terms of changing up his pass sets. Last season, he wasn't doing different type of pass sets, right? He was mostly just getting vertical. This season, he's getting 45. He's getting to the jump sets. He's getting into the vertical sets, and he's changing angles, and he's changing his aiming points. And as a tackle, doing that to defensive ends, it makes it hard, right? Because as a defensive end, you may think to yourself that I'm going to go upfield, I'm going to pass rush, and the tackle may say, well, I'm going to punch you right into your face, and I'm not going to give you the time to really set up and get that speed rush going. And that's what Steele does on this play, right? He goes directly at number 59, and he takes it to 59, as opposed to letting 59 set up. Pretty solid job. This is a quick throw. Generally speaking, we would skip these plays because Steele does his job, and the guy would have never gotten to the quarterback regardless. But we're showing it because there's only 15 total reps, so I do want to try to get through every single rep that has at least some meaningful benefit to show you guys. So let's get into the next one. Now, if you guys watched a video that I posted about a month or two back about if Terence Steele could potentially replace La'el Collins, one of the things in that video that I mentioned is Steele does a great job latching, and he shows those tendencies here. If you guys watch that left hand, he's going to latch onto the right shoulder of this defensive lineman, and once you latch, it's very hard for a guy to break that latch. And oftentimes latching leads to winning reps. Now you're going to see that number 59, as he makes contact, he gets that right hand, he's trying to break the latch, and he's not going to be able to. And at the end of this, he's going to even try to rip with the right hand, and you can't do anything if a guy successfully latches. And again, as a tackle, not every tackle latches, right? But a big part of latching is once you are able to latch, you really just have to mirror the footwork and mirror the way the defense is going, and you pretty much won your rep. Now, this is interesting because once again, not a lot of tackles latch and mirror. Right, I'd say a very few % of them actually successfully do this, and it's typically veterans. But the fact that Terence Steele is still super young and he's already showing these type of things, it's kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and get to the next rep. Now, I do want to just throw a quick disclaimer out there. There are reps like this that Steele doesn't really do anything, and we are going to skip those reps. We won't be watching those. Just wanted to quickly throw that out there. Let's get into the next play. Jumping into the next rep, I want you guys to check out Steele's block because it is kind of interesting what he does here. As you guys see, he's going to block number 59, and then he's going to get off of 59 and go up to number 40. Now, understand this is a inside zone, and Steele does have the responsibility of a gap. Steele is responsible for this gap, so as number 40 is going to start jumping this way, Steele is going to let 59 go, and he's going to get to number 40. That's a heads-up play by Steele to let one guy go and to make contact with the next guy. Now, of course, number 40, number 30 are all in there, and they all kind of make the play. But it's still a heads-up play by Steele, in my opinion. Just wanted to point that rep out. Let's go ahead and jump forward. Steele is 6'6", 315 pounds, and he's so damn explosive out of his stance. It's insane, man, because the explosiveness he has is really going to help him reach and be able to do a couple different things. But then he's strong too, right? But in this play, look at, once again, like how fast he is out of his stance. Look at that left foot of his. He's already moving, as you guys can tell. If you guys really watch him closely, he's already moving there. He's getting out of his stance. He's making contact. And then watch the power as he gets to number 40, and watch how he drives number 40. Look at that drive right there. That's a solid job on number 40. And the crazy part is this guy is 6'6", so he's lengthy, he's long, he's tall, and he's 315 pounds, and he moves well. Steele has so much potential, and it's crazy to think that the Cowboys literally got Steele as a free agent. Like, he wasn't drafted, he wasn't brought on. And truth be told, I think this could be a massive steal, especially if you look over what Steele could bring over the next 5 to 10 years in terms of holding this down the right tackle position. Now, if this is the first time you guys are on this channel, one thing to note is we do like to look at losing reps so we can kind of look at what a guy has to improve. The only issue that I saw with Steele, and this was true last year as well, was when there's a defensive tackle or a super strong player lined up over him and he's really power blocking, he's really blocking straight up man-to-man against the guy, he doesn't always win, he doesn't always get as much movement, and that's okay, right? I think a big part of his development is to really understand what some guys like to do. Right, one guy may like to jump a gap, another guy may like to cross your face, you know. And in this play right here, Steele is going to start off with his left foot going left. And the thing is that's more so of a zone concept, right? Instead of having his foot go to the left, if he wants to take a guy on in a powerful way, that left foot should go forward, right? And that's going to give him the most possible power behind it. And again, it's okay. It's not a big deal because he will learn as he kind of goes through his career what to do against certain guys and certain concepts. Even his pad level's not the lowest, right? You can tell right here, his helmet is above the defensive tackle. And as you watch this play continue, the defensive tackle is going to be able to lock out slightly right there. And Steele's not in a good spot at this moment. Even if he got to number 49, which he's really not going to be able to, the fact that the defensive tackle locked out with you, it's going to be hard for a tight end to move this guy at this point, right? Really solid job by the defensive lineman. I think Steele can continue to improve a little bit. Not a major deal. He will get better, obviously, with more reps. Let's go ahead and get into the next rep. Another part of his game that I think he needs to work on just a little bit is he's great in pass pro. He gets vertical, he sets, but he needs to pick up defensive line games a little bit sooner. He needs to recognize them just a little bit quicker because this is what teams are going to do. Every team out there that's going to play the Cowboys this year has already seen this clip right here. And they've already saved it, and they know that this is what they're going to try against Steele. And if it works, they're going to continuously use this play right here. Continuously have their defensive linemen run these games. Here's the thing. Steele has to recognize that this is a possibility, especially because this defensive tackle is lined up way out wide here. He has to realize that as he gets vertical and as he sets, he has to keep his head on a swivel. He has to know that number 95 may come directly at you, right? And in this case, he's not looking at 95. He only has his eyes on number 59. And 95 is going to hit Steele right to the inside shoulder. There it is. And Steele has no way to win this rep at this point. The right guard is trying to pass him off, but Steele's just in a bad spot. And ultimately, number 95 gets to the inside. And in my opinion, this is a losing rep because you don't want a guy to be on the inside and have a direct shot at your quarterback. Again, more reps and these type of things don't happen. Just wanted to point that out. Let's get into the next rep. Alright guys, jumping into this next rep, this is an interesting play. You know, one of the things that defensive ends like to do is they like to line up super wide. And the reason for that is you're able to speed rush this and try to get around the tackle. A wide 9 technique like Nick Bonito lines up here is very interesting because Steele really, instead of just getting vertical, is going to have to close down some of that space. So he's going to have to come out a little bit before he starts to get vertical. And you'll see as I start this play what I mean by that. As soon as the play begins, Steele does a good job getting out and really closing that gap down before he starts to get vertical. Bonito's going to give Steele a ghost move right there, and he's going to try to get to the outside. Now, Steele does a good job riding this defensive end and having him just go upfield, right? He's going to just keep his hands on him and have him go upfield. Quarterback gets the ball out. Winning rep in my opinion. Let's get into the next play. Alrighty guys, just to wrap the video up, I think Terence Steele has so much potential. And I think for a guy who's about to enter year 3, he's entering that pivotal year. Will he give up sacks? Absolutely. He's going to give up 2 to 5 sacks this year. Not a big deal, right? He's still learning. He's still going to get better. He's still going to improve. And we only saw 15 reps during preseason. Obviously, the coaching staff thought this guy was ready, and they didn't have him play the rest of the preseason for a reason. Overall, I think Steele is a very solid option for the Cowboys at right tackle. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.